Here we go.
What's going on, everybody? What is going on, everybody? Happy Thursday. Just kidding. It's Sunday, obviously. What's going on, everybody? Happy Sunday. Good morning to you as well, Steven. Good morning. Darnold, JJ, or Caleb Williams? Great question. Now, honestly, I'm going to keep it a buck with you. Caleb Williams is one of the most annoying players in all of fantasy football. He could have the easiest matchup ever, just like this week, and completely just be terrible. I could also see him having just a tremendous game. So it's pretty tough. It's pretty tough with Caleb Williams. I think that everyone that has Caleb Williams this season probably will acknowledge the exact same thing that I have, which is it's a real guessing game week in and week out with Caleb Williams. With that said, I'm definitely going to go with Caleb Williams up against the Vikings. I just feel like that, man. But to me, it's between Caleb and Darnold. I don't trust JJ McCarthy enough yet. I get JJ McCarthy has the good matchup, and I think JJ McCarthy has what it takes to be a good quarterback at the NFL level. So I don't want to come on here and just completely take a shit all over the guy, right? And act like he's terrible. But let's be honest with you, based on what we've seen this season, I don't think you could have very strong conviction about him, whether it's positively or like super negatively. When it comes to the matchup, the Vikings are a mid-range matchup. They're the 17th best matchup for quarterbacks on a per game basis. And while we have seen Darnold be super consistent this season, and I do definitely think Darnold has earned his stripes, it's a worse matchup for Darnold. And I could really see the LA Rams really shutting the door on the Seattle Seahawks offense. I'm not saying that's a guarantee. I just think that is possible. Caleb played good against the Vikings earlier on the season. I just feel better about Caleb. I'm not saying that Donald's a bad start for anyone or JJ, because JJ is still definitely startable. But for me, that's kind of just how I feel. I would go with Caleb Williams. Now, hopefully, the fucking Dolphins can get a stop here, so I don't crash the hell out on the stream. Thank you for the super chat, Steven. Again, make sure you go with Caleb. One sportsman like. Thank you so much for the super chat. Lineup: quarterback Allen. This is full PPR. Running backs are Jacobs and Genty. Wide receivers are Collins and Jay Jettas. Is all locked in. His tight end Theo Schultz, Loveland. His flex Pearsall, Flowers, ETN, Marks, Judkins. Great question. Now, for the tight end, to me, I would just go with Dalton Schultz. I understand that trusting Davis Mills is, inherently feels stupid, right? Trusting Davis Mills sounds almost crazy, but to me, I do trust Schultz the most. Schultz has been getting a boatload of targets week in and week out at the tight end position. And with the tight ends that you also have listed, like Loveland, I'm not even going to pencil in Colston Loveland to guarantee get 5 targets. Now, do I think he should? Yes, but would I guarantee it? No. Just like I don't think you can guarantee Theo Johnson to get 5 targets, right? Whereas Dalton Schultz, I think you could easily fast forward to the end of the game and he has 12 targets, right? He's a safety valve in this offense for Davis Mills. The matchup isn't the best on paper for tight ends, but I just think off of sheer volume alone, Dalton Schultz should have a very good game. So I would go with Dalton Schultz. And then for the flex, I think I do have Pearsall ranked a lot lower than other people. Just for me, the reason behind my ranking of Pearsall is I really just kind of want to see what happens before I go all in on Pearsall. And what I mean by that is, for one, Pearsall is coming off of an injury that has held him out for fucking years at this point, right? The last time he played was, and they threw a fucking flag on that. Are you serious? Are you serious? Was that on the Dolphins? These refs are so fucking brain dead. Mike McDaniel should clobber one of these guys on the sideline if they're going to throw a penalty on that. Thank God they didn't call that penalty. Okay, sorry about that. So yeah, what I was going to say is Pearsall, for one, he hasn't played in a while. For two, Purdy hasn't played in a while. I want to see how the offense maneuvers without with Purdy and with Pearsall before I go all in on playing him in this scenario where you have Flowers, who's been a safe bet, ETN, relatively safe bet as well. I do like Judkins a decent amount. Judkins, to me, the biggest problem with Judkins is just, hey, if you're the Cleveland Browns and you're not able to throw the ball a ton with success, then how can I possibly believe that you're going to be in this game enough for Judkins to truly dominate and be like a top 10-ish back? Now, when it comes to ETN, he's going up against the Chargers, and the Chargers definitely are far from, and of course they get a first down, are far from the best matchup ever for running backs, but it's the 19th best matchup. I would feel the best about going with ETN personally. I would go ETN. Aiden, thank you so much for the super chat. Two running backs, full PPR. I'm just making sure I answer this correctly. Yeah, I'd go ETN and Schultz. Aiden, thank you for the super chat. Two full PPR. Hunt, DeMarcado, Sean Tucker, Corum, and Tyrone Tracy. Great question. For me, definitely one of them is going to be Kareem Hunt. Now, I understand that the matchup this week for the Chiefs is not the best for running backs, but Kareem Hunt is the clear best back in this backfield. I know that a lot of people like to hype up other pieces in this Chiefs backfield, right? And we kind of try to do this every single year, right? Who's going to be the guy that dethrones Pacheco? Who's going to be this new piece that dethrones Pacheco? And then it just always ends up being Kareem Hunt, right? Don't you guys remember last year we were talking about this guy whose name is escaping my head? He has the super long blonde hair. He looks like fucking Steve Irwin, mate, right? And the crocodile hunter. And I'm pretty sure the guy had a crocodile too. And I can't even remember his name off the top of my head. Everyone's talking about him dethroning Pacheco, and it doesn't work, right? Hunt is that guy. Hunt's going to get a lot of volume. I don't project this to be the best game ever, but I would go with Kareem Hunt. And then between the other grouping is where it becomes much more of a question, right? Between Hunt, DeMarcado, Sean Tucker, and Tyrone Tracy. I know Corum's been getting a lot of touches, and maybe the LA Rams just blow the back out of the Seattle Seahawks. But I'm not gonna guarantee that because that's why Corum was really getting a lot of touches. So for me, it's between Tracy and DeMarcado. I got Tracy 30, DeMarcado 27. I would lean with DeMarcado, just assuming that he's going to potentially be the guy that gets lucky enough to catch a couple of passes. Tracy, to me, against the Packers, if it was any other matchup, it would be Tracy. It's just the matchup is so bad. Intentional grounding? Intentional grounding? Throw that fucking flag. Even though I don't think it was one. Give me a nice bullshit call because these refs are terrible. DeMarcado and Hunt for me. Thank you for the super chat. ITZBTV, thank you for the super chat. Metcalf or Judkins? Metcalf has been so downright dreadful as of recently. That has been so bad to watch, man. I can't believe we just can't sack Marcus Mariota. I really can't believe it. But yeah, Metcalf has been dreadful. I do think Metcalf does end up bouncing back though and playing better in this spot. It's just such a great matchup up against the Bengals, right? You would project there to be a lot of points in this game. It was very high scoring last time these two teams played. It's the 16th best matchup for wide receivers. Now, if Judkins was in another matchup, I'd be fine banging the drum for him. But again, you would expect the Cleveland Browns to just get toasted. So if I expect them to get toasted, I don't think Judkin's going to have his big day. DK is due. I agree with you. I would go DK. Jeremy, thank you for the super chat. Need to flex one running back. You have AJ Brown, Adunze, Vidal, RJ Harvey. Great question. AJ Brown, to me, I understand that AJ Brown has been terrorizing you guys all year long. I was one of the biggest proponents to not drafting AJ Brown. Now, the reason why I avoided AJ Brown was exactly why what is happening right now. I did think that Saquon would be much better this season, but when you have a team like this, they don't have to feed the ball to AJ Brown. And while I think AJ Brown is one of the better wide receivers in the NFL, I don't think that's really a disputable comment unless you're someone that just looks at the stats and that's how you base stuff off of it, right? Unless you just think that, like you just based off of his stats, then of course his stats are bad. But in terms of actual player, I think AJ Brown's great. I think AJ Brown crashing out probably leads to AJ Brown either getting 30 fantasy points today or 0. Either he's going to get force fed or not fed at all. With that said, I'm playing AJ Brown. I'm playing Adunze. Adunze's been all over the place too, but Adunze's upside is way too high. And then Vidal or RJ Harvey. I'm going to be honest with you guys. I think it is RJ Harvey season, but I don't want a single one of you guys to be surprised when Jaleel McLaughlin, Tyler Bidet, these other running backs are touching the ball, and you are just so frustrated. And look, I get it. I'm going to be mad too. But don't be surprised when RJ Harvey isn't seeing 25 plus touches like you might want him to. 20 plus touches. It's a bad matchup too. I know Kamani Vidal has been all over the place, but Vidal is very clearly the workhorse back on this team until Omarion Hampton comes back, right? Once Omarion Hampton comes back, it's going to be a peaceful changing of the administration. They're going to just give the ball quickly to Hampton. But as of right now, I would go Vidal and leave Harvey on the bench. New strategy, starting Waddle when the Finns play at home. Now, a new strategy would be play Waddle every time except for when the Finns are in some other country. I would prefer if this game was in America because I think both of these teams probably would actually have scored a decent amount of points. That's the problem with these games that are not in America is the time change affects things, or maybe it's the field. I don't know, but this feels like a game that if it was in America would be a lot better. But I do agree, Waddle does play better at home. This is technically a home game, though, in Germany. I think things will get better for Waddle. I'm not really too worried after this game. I think even if the Dolphins lose and are terrible, which is entirely possible, Waddle's still going to get the ball a ton. I do appreciate the super chat. Start 2 out of Kareem Hunt, Troy Franklin, Tez Johnson. Troy Franklin's going to be the odd man out. Again, I love Troy Franklin. Don't come at me for being a Troy Franklin hater this week, but fantasy football, a lot of the times when you're looking at options like this, right? I don't think anyone's going to say Kareem Hunt, Tez Johnson, Troy Franklin. These are some of the premier players in the NFL, right? It's not like we're talking about Saquon Barkley in a bad matchup. It's not like we're talking about McCaffrey in a bad matchup. Bijan, Jonathan Taylor, right? Or whichever wide receiver you want to glaze in the NFL, whoever you think's the best, right? You're going to play them regardless of the matchup. But when you're talking about guys that are lower down pieces at the NFL level, to me, Tez Johnson, I really like Tez Johnson this week. I think this is going to be a very high-scoring game between the Buffalo Bills and between the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and I think Tez Johnson's going to feast. So for me, I'm definitely going with Tez Johnson. He is a lock. And then between Troy Franklin and Kareem Hunt, to me, I would just feel a lot safer having Kareem Hunt just because I think Kareem Hunt's more likely to score. Whereas I think Franklin is probably much more live to just get you like 8 to 10 fantasy points, where I could see Kareem Hunt scoring 20 points. I think Kareem Hunt's also safer. So I would go with Kareem Hunt and Tez Johnson. A Rav, thank you so much for the super chat. Wandale, Harvey, Parker, pick 1. Fannin or Andrews, pick 2. From Swift, Adunze. Javante, pick 1 to stash rest of season. Tez, Jerry Judy, Trey Tucker. Great question. Now, for the first question, I'm going to go with Wandale. Now, anytime you are playing with Jameis Winston's wide receiver 1, you are rolling the dice. And why are you rolling the dice? Because Jameis Winston's going to go out there today, and he might drop his nuts on the Packers and throw for 4 touchdowns. That wouldn't shock me. He could also throw 4 interceptions and 4 touchdowns, or just no touchdowns and 4 interceptions, right? Jameis Winston is a true dice roll, as much of a dice roll, as much of a Russian roulette game as you can get in the NFL. That's what Jameis Winston is. And it's a bad matchup. But no Darius Slayton. They're going to feed the ball to Wandale. Parker Washington has, I believe, Brian Thomas Jr. back or not? Whether he is or not, it's still going to be Brian Thomas Jr. Roto World. Is he out? Entirely possible. Not expected to play. Okay, he's out. So that definitely does make me like Parker Washington more. But still, there's talks about Jacoby Myers getting the ball more. And again, like Parker Washington has had 2 great games in a row. Last week, he has a great game because he scores a kick return touchdown. What are the odds that happens again? Realistically, not the highest in my opinion. I am going to bump Parker Washington up now that BTJ is out, though, because I thought it would be possible that BTJ would play. Brian Thomas Jr. will bump Parker Washington up, but I'm still going Wandale. Still going to go Wandale. And then, so we're going to go Wandale, Fannin or Andrews. I'm going to go Andrews just because of the touchdown upside. They're both in the same range for me, which are guys that, wait, let me let me just make sure I'm not speaking out me ass here. Yeah, I have Fannin 14, Andrews 12. Fannin is probably the safer bet, but Andrews just continues to score touchdowns. And when there are guys that are as hot as Mark Andrews, we say this a lot. Oh man, two almost just turned the ball over. I don't know what he's doing, but I do think that Andrews is probably the smarter play here. So I would go with Andrews again. The guy's just on fire. He's been playing very well. And then pick two, Swift, Adunzi, Vidal, Javante. Don't think you can sit Javante, in my opinion. I think Javante is kind of just must start up against the Raiders. I think you'd feel stupid if you sat him. And then, I mean, Vidal to me is just not even a part of the question. It would be Swift versus Adunze. I think if you're just talking about a pure safety standpoint, I would play Swift because Swift's not going to screw the pooch, right? Swift had a great game last week. Sure, he didn't score, but he looked great in that game. And I think things will be better going forward for him. But I think I would just go with here. Let me just make sure about something real quick. Vikings. The Vikings are the 26th best matchup for receivers. For running backs, they're the 20th best matchup. I think Swift is safer. I would find it hard to sit at Dunze, though. I'm going to go a Dunze, and I'm going to go Javante. And then stash rest of the season would be Tez Johnson. Pretty clearly, I just think Tez Johnson has the most upside. And who knows how healthy Chris Godwin's even going to be. So Wandale, Adunze, Javante, and Tez Johnson. Grind Bird. Drop Matthew Golden or Spears. Also, I'm 10-0. Thank you. No problem. I'm happy that you're 10-0. I'm dropping Matthew Golden. Look, I like Matthew Golden as much as the next guy. I am genuinely shocked that he has produced the way he did this season after they invested so heavily into him. I thought he would be much more featured in this offense. But with Christian Watson healthy, there's just no real chance that Matthew Golden actually has that breakout until maybe next year. Maybe he doesn't break out at all. Maybe he was just a waste of a pick. But I do think that Spears is a guy that, sure, we hate the Titans. Of course we do. The Titans are bad, but the Titans also, if they do try to invest more into Spears, give him more touches, Spears could be a, solid flex play weekly, low end RB2 potentially. Whereas Matthew Golden is just burning a hole in your fantasy bench. Full PPR, Otten or Theo at tight end, Nico, Egbuka, Adams, or Rice. I would personally go with Otten. Theo Johnson, again, I'm excited about what Theo Johnson can do. I'm excited about Theo Johnson's touchdown upside, and I'm excited for what Jameis Winston brings to this offense. But at the end of the day, Otten is just so involved without Godwin, without Evans. It would feel smart to play Otten in a game, especially that you would expect to be high scoring. So Otten, and then Egbuka, Adams, Rice, Nico is one of the hardest questions I'm going to be asked all day because all four of these guys are ranked inside of my top 12. And besides Rice, who to me is just a must-start player, like guaranteed, like Rice is ahead of that group. He's 6. I have Egbuka 8, Nico Collins 11, Devontae Adams 12. I think if you want to go with your safest bet, you go Nico. I mean, if you want to be as safe as possible, you play Rashee Rice, you play Devontae Adams, and you play Egbuka. I personally have Nico Collins ranked ahead of Devontae Adams strictly because of the matchup and because Devontae Adams is coming into the game banged up. But they're all top 12 wide receivers for me. So if we're going based off my rankings, I'm sitting Adams. If you want to be a little bit safer, you sit Nico Collins. But personally, I would go Egbuka, Nico, Rice, and Thea and Otten. So Otten, Nico, Egbuka, Rice. Nico, Egbuka, Rice, Otten. Rise above everything. Good morning, bro. Good morning to you as well. GM, Judkins, Swift, Vidal, Rachaad White, RB2. A lot of people are really starting to hype up Sean Tucker, and I get it, right? I like Sean Tucker, but man, oh man, oh man, oh man. Sean Tucker has me so frustrated about Rachaad White. And I don't think that means that Sean Tucker is actually going to, be the bell cow back on the team. I don't think that, but it does diminish the value of Rachaad White in a matchup that's exciting. I would just go with DeAndre Swift. Again, I understand he didn't score last week, but he's still very much the guy. I understand they like Kyle Monangai, and I like Kyle Monangai too. I'm not going to sit here and just, poo-poo the guy. He's a great player, but at the end of the day, I think Swift is just the clearly best answer here. He's going to see the most amount of volume out of those guys, and he should be in a competitive game, right? Judkins, they might just get dookied on, and Judkins doesn't do anything. The Bucks might give the ball too much to Sean Tucker, and Vidal has been hit or miss every single week. So I trust DeAndre Swift the most out of that grouping, and I think he is your best play. I think he's by far your best play, actually. So that's the way that I would lean. I'm going to lean with Swift. Giorgio, thank you so much for the super chat. I greatly appreciate you. Nikki, Mahomes or Herbert? Man, I like Mahomes against a good defense. He has to do all the work. Also, I feel like Algier over Walker. N.I. Bijan. Travesty, what they're doing to Walker. I know where my gut is, but I need a second opinion. Thank you so much for the super chat. I really appreciate that. Thank you so much. You didn't have to send that much money. It means a lot to me. Thank you so much. So for me, I get what you're saying, right? Because this game should be a game where Mahomes has to put the team on his back, right? Where Mahomes has to go absolutely bonkers to win. And I agree with that sentiment, right? But Justin Herbert's going up against the Jaguars. And let's be real, the Jaguars are the second best matchup for quarterbacks on a per game basis. The Jaguars defense has fallen off the edge of a cliff ever since like the first 4 weeks of the season where they looked like the Jacksonville Jaguars. If you remember early on in the season, they were doing all types of crazy things. They had Mahomes playing bad. It was like, oh my gosh, is the Jaguars defense legit? Not so much anymore. And I'm fine if you want to play Mahomes. Again, it is always important to, if you have a really strong gut lean, to just go with your gut. Because while I might say, I love Herbert much more than Mahomes, at the end of the day, it's on you. It's on you. But I'm going to go ahead and play Herbert. Mahomes has the second worst matchup for quarterbacks. Herbert has the second best matchup. And the Jacksonville game could be competitive as well, I would think. As long as the Jaguars don't play like a steaming pile of dog shit. So I think the game should be competitive. I'm going Herbert over Mahomes. The fuck did Tua just do? I'm only watching the game like out of the corner of my eye. It looked like he just shot a 3 like Stephen Curry. But maybe it was just a bad snap. I don't know. I just need Achane to score me a touchdown. I need the Dolphins to win. But yeah, I want Herbert 100%. And then Algier versus Walker, to me, is basically like Algier is more likely to score the touchdown, so I get it. Oh, it was a fake. It was like a. I see what just happened. To me, it looked like Tua out of the corner of my eye just shot a Stephen Curry 3. I would personally go Walker because I think Walker is just safer, and I know Walker isn't the safest bet ever either. I'm not going to sit here and act like Walker is the safest bet of all time, but I do think Walker is much more likely to get you 10 points than Algier is. Now, Algier is more likely to score 20 plus points and win you your week, but you already have Bijan. Walker scored 8 points in back-to-back weeks. I mean, he's just so dreadful. Algier is just all over the place, though. And that's like really the biggest problem. He scored 1 fantasy point in week 9, 18 last week. He's all over the place. You know what? Since you want to go Algier, I'm not going to sit here and dispute you about Walker. Because you know what? I don't even fucking like Kenneth Walker either. So I'm not even going to dispute your thought process. We are going to go with Algier. Because you like Algier more, I'm not going to dispute that process. That's fine. And we're going to go with Justin Herbert. Thank you again so much for the super chat. Ricky, thank you for the super chat. RJ or Chase Brown? Start 3, Rice, Buka, Adams, Pickens. Great question. Thank you. Chase Brown over RJ Harvey. Again, I like RJ Harvey. I don't want to come off as Nick is number 1 RJ Harvey hater, right? Nick hates RJ Harvey. But while I dislike I like RJ Harvey, I'm going to keep it real with you. I would not be surprised if you play RJ Harvey and you end up incredibly disappointed. God damn it, bro. Achane gets down to the fucking 1 yard line. Just squeeze in there, you little buddy. Squeeze on in there. I wouldn't be surprised if RJ Harvey wasn't as involved as we want. It's our first look at him without Dobbins for the whole game, where they're going to use other running backs as well. I would prefer Chase Brown up against the Steelers. It's a good matchup for running backs. Chase Brown performed well last time against them. I know you can't just copy-paste what happened in week 7 and pace that to week 11. But I think that's the smarter move. Rice, Buka, Adams, or Pickens. Pickens is going to be the odd man out. I love Pickens up against the Raiders. And please get in, Ollie. Thank God. Thank God. Hit the salsa, bro. Victor Cruz. Now, I am mad that was not Achane, and I still think Achane will be able to get in later, but that is very frustrating for those of us who bet Achane anytime touchdown. So, we're going to go Chase Brown. We're going to go Rice, Buka, and Adams. The only reason why Pickens is the odd man out is because of CeeDee Lamb, right? If you just took CeeDee Lamb, dribbled him around, threw him off the team, he would be ranked in the top 12. He might be ranked in the top 5 in this matchup. But because CeeDee Lamb is there, it's not like Pickens is a bad start. I don't want to come off as I don't like George Pickens. I have George Pickens ranked really high. I believe he's a top 18 wide receiver for me. And he is. He is the wide receiver 16. But the difference is I have Rashee Rice, number 6. I have Egbuka, number 8. And I have Adams, number 12. It's just he's the odd man out. So that's what I would do. Chase Brown, Rice, Buka, Adams. Daniel, what's up, brother? Thank you for the super chat. Need a running back, wide receiver, and flex. Jennings, Higgins, Harvey, Etienne, and Quinn Johnson. Also, Otten or Andrews. Have a blessed day and stay awesome, dude. Thank you so much. I really appreciate that. For me, I'm definitely going to go ahead and play Otten over Andrews. Again, in fantasy football, we like to stay in the heat. We like to play guys that are on fire. And while Mark Andrews is certifiably on fire, he scored 3 touchdowns over the last 2 games, 2 of those up against the Dolphins, as the Ravens absolutely pulled us apart like a wishbone on Thanksgiving morning. I do think that Otten is the safer bet. The game against the Bills should be high scoring, should be fun. Should be a fun game. Should be the best game, in my opinion. He has scored 8+ points in now 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 games in a row. For a second, I forgot how to count. So, yeah. We're going to go with Otten. He also saw 12 targets last week. I wouldn't project that again, but it is possible. And then you running back, wide receiver, and a flex. Got to play Higgins. Got to play Higgins up against the Bengals defense. Against the Steelers defense. Higgins played well against them last time. Higgins is on fire coming into the out of the bye week. Him and Joe Flacco got a great connection. Obviously, Jamar Chase is safer, but we love Higgins. We also love Etienne. Etienne feels like a safe bet this week. And then it's between Jennings, QJ, Harvey. Man, that's a good question. I'm going QJ. I mean, Quentin Johnston, I get he's risky, and maybe Jennings is a little bit safer, but Ricky Pearsall's back. To me, I'm going QJ. I'm going to go QJ, Higgins, and Travis Etienne. Thank you for the super chat. Thank you, Mark. I appreciate you as well. Marks or AJ Brown, PPR, thanks. I mean, Marks feasted against the Titans last time. I do still have questions about the workload of this offense, right? Does anyone feel 100% confident in the offense of the Houston Texans? Like how many touches each guy is going to get? To me, it still feels dicey, right? I still don't feel like I can, with 100% confidence, guarantee you that Marks is going to get a majority of the touches. Now, I think on paper, he should, right? He should, but we still have Nick Chubb there. Nick Chubb still sees an annoying amount of touches, and it's very frustrating. It is very, 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 very frustrating. So I'm going to go ahead and play A.J. Brown. I know A.J. Brown's risky, but again, he just fully crashed out. I think they're going to target him a million times. If you want to be safe, you play Marks. I would go A.J. Brown. I think that's going to be a very high-scoring game. Fruit Punch, thank you for the super chat. Swift or ETN, Otten, Pearsall, Parker, pick 2. Thank you, GOAT. No problem. I appreciate you. Swift or ETN. I just got to go with Swift. Again, I understand that Swift didn't score last week, and maybe we do get a rollout of the season where it's very frustrating, and we end up seeing, Swift get him down to the goal line, knock it on the door, and then Monungai ends up finding the end zone. It'll be frustrating, but at the end of the day, Swift's still the guy who's going to steal all the touches. We're going Swift. And then Otten, Pearsall, Parker is a great question. If I'm being honest with you, if you can start ETN, I assume that's a flex question, right? Because Otten, Pearsall, Parker. If you can, I'm playing Swift, ETN and Otten, if that is not possible. I don't know how the flex works. Everyone's league has different settings, so I'm not going to sit here and be like, just act like you can 100% do that. I have no idea. But if that's possible, it's Swift, ETN, and it is Otten. If that's not possible, it's Swift, Otten, and Parker. That's how I feel about that. I just feel like Parker's going to get a lot of volume. Grindbird, Keenan Jones, Aaron Jones, for Lamar and AJ. Wait, did you correct yourself on this one? It's from 11:45 a.m. 11:45 a.m. Is it Keenan Jones? Like, is it, or is it just Keenan and Aaron Jones for, Jones is Daniel Jones. Duh. Duh. Would I do that? Keenan, Daniel Jones, Aaron Jones for Lamar and AJ. Yeah, I'm doing that. If you're getting Lamar and AJ, I'm doing that. Just because the way I look at it is Keenan is basically irrelevant in this question. I'm fine with Keenan. If you have him, he's a very risky asset week in and week out. If you have him, go ahead and play him. I'm not going to judge you. With that said, Lamar Jackson to me is a top 3 quarterback rest of season. A kind of quarterback that legitimately can win you your game by himself. Is Daniel Jones good? Yes. Can Daniel Jones individually win the game by himself in the fantasy playoffs? Probably not. Right? He's probably not going to drop his nuts and score 40 fantasy points, but Lamar Jackson can. AJ Brown's all over the place, but it's not like you love Aaron Jones. It's not like you love Keenan, so I'd prefer Lamar and AJ Brown. Forrest, thank you for the super chat. Nick, I appreciate you chilling with us while your game is on. I appreciate that. I appreciate that. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Yeah, this is a rough game as a Dolphins fan. This is a rough game to watch. Not because, it's close. I'm fine with watching a close game, but it's just because I feel like the Dolphins, realistically, watching this game in the first half, they should have scored at least twice in the first half, and they didn't. They did not score a touchdown. So it's very frustrating. Thank you so much for the super chat. I appreciate you. Christopher, I have Knicks and Burrow. Should I drop Knicks due to a matchup and bye week coming up for Purdy or Brissett? Must win in this week too. Shakir, Worthy, or Hunt. Okay, if you're in a must-win scenario, I'm going to keep it a buck with you. I don't know if Purdy's coming back. Look, I know Purdy. There's a lot of rumors about Brock Purdy. Will Brock Purdy return? Will Brock Purdy not return? Not Brock Purdy. Will Joe Burrow? He's going to come back in November. How the fuck do you let Marcus Mariota's old ass just run for 40 yards or whatever that was? Marcus Mariota. God damn it. Okay, what I was going to say is Burrow should come back, but if they lose this week and they lose again, how realistic is it that he actually returns, right? Looking at the Bengals schedule, there's 3-6. Say they lose this week. I'm not penciling in his loss. Say they're 3-7. Then they're playing the Patriots. They're probably going to lose to the Patriots, right? Then you're 3-8. Then you play the Ravens on Thanksgiving. And he says he might be able to come back for that game. What if he doesn't come back? And then they're 3-9. Why is he coming back at 3-9? Right? So if I'm being honest with you, yes, if you don't feel comfortable dropping Burrow, drop Knicks and play Brissett. Because Brissett, if you're in a must-win week, Brissett is much more likely to be a top 10 quarterback than Bo Nix is up against the Chiefs. So if you want to do that, go ahead. And I'm fine with that. But in my opinion, I really think people are really galaxy braining really hard on Burrow, and I actually don't think Burrow is going to end up being a guy that you actually wish you were just holding at mercy on your bench. But yeah, drop Bo, pick up Jacoby, and then Shakir, Worthy, or Hunt. I'm going to go with Shakir just because I feel pretty good about Shakir getting you 14 points. Should be a high-scoring game. He should be very involved. No Keon Coleman. Makes perfect sense that he would have a good enough game for your fantasy team. So Shakir for me. Ray, good morning, Notorious. Good morning to you as well. AJ Brown or Ricky Pearsall, Keenan Allen as the flex. Who do you start? Cam Little or Prater or Santos as the kicker? Thank you, homie. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. We will do the wide receiver question first. Again, if this was Ricky Pearsall starting for the 49ers and Brock Purdy starting for the 49ers, and they have both played in, multiple games in a row, right? This isn't their first game back together. I would be banging the drum for Pearsall. I would be very happy to, of course, Juju Brents is hurt too, right? This player that we sign and he actually looks good for once and now he's hurt. But what I will say is if this was, a few games back and you already saw Pearsall and Purdy working well, then yeah, I'm all over Pearsall instead of AJ Brown because AJ Brown's very frustrating. But again, AJ Brown just called out everyone. I think they're going to feed him. It's kind of like how Roma Dunze's dad was crashing out all over Twitter, and then Roma Dunze gets a million targets last week, right? I think we're kind of in a similar scenario this week. So I would go with AJ Brown. I just don't trust Keenan Allen. So AJ Brown. And then Little, Prater, or Santos. Great question. Cam Little has been an absolute monster. I got Cam Little at 11, Prater at 14, Santos at 8. How's Santos been doing? Because again, I don't remember how kickers have been performing off the top of my head. That's just one thing I can never remember. That's why I realized this year, you honestly might be just better off drafting like Dicker, like 1 round early. And I don't mean like in the 10th round. I mean like in round, oh my gosh, please don't let him in. Like in round like 13, right? That might be the smarter move next year. But yeah, I would go with Santos. I feel pretty good about Santos. I like Little as well. Man, Little's been on fire, but he's also been ice cold. You know what? I'm gonna move Little above Santos. We're gonna go with Cam Little. So Cam Little and AJ Brown. Thank you for the super chat. Dr. Thang, thank you as well. Aaron Jones or Rashad White, pick one, full PPR with ETN. I'm gonna go ETN. I'm very excited to see what ETN is able to do in this matchup up against the Chargers. I know that going into the year, I thought the Chargers were going to be one of the worst matchups for running backs. Like, I really thought the Chargers were going to be locked in on running backs. Doesn't really seem the case this season. They're the 19th best matchup for running backs. ETN has been pretty reliable. He starts off the season very reliable. Then he kind of has a bit of a stretch in the middle of the season where he's not playing well at all, and it's pretty dreadful. But then recently he picked it up, running back 12 in week 9, running back 13 last week in a tough spot against the Texans. I just feel really good about ETN, so I would go ETN. And then bear down, boys. Thank you for the super chat. Pick one, QJ, Aaron Jones, Tracy, Parker, Washington. Man, I'm going to be honest with you. Going into the year, I was pretty off of Aaron Jones. I just thought, you know what? They have Jordan Mason, who they brought in. There's a lot of talks about Jordan Mason seeing more work than Aaron Jones in the summer, being a true 50-50 split. And now we're in week 11, and while Jordan Mason looked good without Aaron Jones, we're now in a scenario where Jordan Mason and Aaron Jones are both playing, and Aaron Jones is very clearly the lead back. So while I like Jordan Mason, Aaron Jones has played pretty well. He has performed in a few games in a row. He's got a good matchup for running backs up against the Chicago Bears, a mid-range matchup. And he scored 12-plus points in back-to-back games and scored a touchdown last week. I like that spot for Aaron Jones. So I would personally go with Aaron Jones. Kelfin TV, thank you so much for the super. Keflin TV, I apologize. Thank you for the super chat. Yo, Nick, Flex 2 PPR, Romeo Dobbs, Jawan Jennings, Quinshon Judkins, Roma Dunze, Parker Washington. Roma Dunze has to be in. I absolutely would hate to sit Roma Dunze. I know Roma Dunze's been boomer bust. I know trusting Caleb Williams is still difficult, right? We're in week 11. And while I thought at this point in the season, I personally thought by the time we got this far into the season, I would trust Caleb Williams. That is blatantly wrong. It is week 11. I do not trust Caleb Williams. But what I will say is I'd have to play Roma Dunze. He is just so involved in that offense. I like him. I like him too much to sit him. And then Romeo Dobbs, Jawan Jennings, Quinshon Judkins, or Parker Washington. I have Quinshon Judkins ranked pretty high, but I still do worry about what if this game is just a blowout and Judkins just can't get the ball. Like, that's very possible. Like, we saw what happened to Brees, right? Their team gets their fucking back blown out. They can't give him the ball, and he ends up, shitting the bed. Let's fucking go. Strapped up. Are they going to go for it, or are they going to kick the field goal? Let's go. All right, yeah. I like Judkins more than most this week, but man, I don't know if I have to move Jawan Jennings down or not. Like, the more I've thought about it, the more nervous I've been getting. I think I would just play Jawan Jennings against the Cardinals. I just think Purdy will play good enough. So I'm going Jawan Jennings and I'm going Roma Dunze. Thank you for the super chat. Sean Tucker or Monty? I would go with Monty. Again, I want Sean Tucker. Like, I think Sean Tucker could be getting enough touches for you to actually justify playing him. But I would prefer to just go with Monty. You know the workload he's going to get. Flex, Parker Washington, Ricky Pearsall, or Tyrone Tracy. I would go ahead and play. I would play Parker Washington. They like to make the overseen games last as long as possible. Yeah, they do. They love these long ass, boring games. QJ or Ted? I would go QJ. Dobbs, Franklin, or Tez? I'm going Tez. Theo Johnson or Loveland? I would go Theo Johnson. McMillan, Washington, Spears, or Manungai? I would go Parker Washington. Darnold or Josh Allen? You got to play Josh Allen. T-Mac, Watson, or Wilson? I would go with Wilson. Should I replace Charbonnet in the flex? Nah, I would play. Oh, you know what? I think I would play T-Mac and Wilson and just not play Charbonnet. Let's fucking go. Strapped up, bitch. Fuck you, Marcus Mariota. Nice try, buddy. Nice try. I was surprised they didn't throw a flag like they've been doing all game. Dickhead refs. Nice try, buddy. You slipped, you old bastard. Nice try. Pearsall or Schultz? Looking for a safer floor, Schultz. Who should I start? Judkins, Henry, or Swift? I'm going Swift. Jason Myers or Cam Little? I would go Cam Little. Jeremy, thank you for the super chat. Full PPR. Need one. A Dunes era J Brown. Again, both of these guys are so risky. But Roma Dunze, his risk meter is less than AJ Brown's, right? Now, Roma Dunze is going to be frustrating all year because, like we saw last week, the guy can play. Plain and simple, you give the guy 8+ targets, he's going to produce as a at least high-end wide receiver too. At minimum, he could produce as a top 5 wide receiver. But the team doesn't really feel like they know that, right? You watch the games, and it almost feels like they just forget that they have Roma Dunze, right? It almost feels like he's an afterthought sometimes, right? He starts off the year, 16 fantasy points. This is PPR. Full PPR, like your scoring is, right? 16 fantasy points, 32, 15, 17. Then they get into the bye week, right? And Ben Johnson must have been doing some fucking Aaron Rodgers ayahuasca because they come out the bye and he has 5 fantasy points, then 18. Like, okay, he's back, then 0. Like, what is happening? Then 21. They have to realize you get a Dunze the ball. It helps out Caleb Williams. I'm going to Dunze. Again, I think this could be the A.J. Brown game where he just gets force-fed out the wazoo. But I'm going Roma Dunze. Hawk me to Otton over Theo Johnson. Very simple. He just gets way more targets. Should I drop Pierce for Otton to be my second tight end? No, you're not dropping Alec Pierce. Just drop Theo Johnson and pick up Otton. Tez, Sutton, Shakir, Tez at half PPR. Ayo, should I start RJ Harvey or AJ Brown? I'm going AJ Brown again. If RJ Harvey had a better matchup, I'm banging the drum for him, even with my confusion of how many touches is he really going to get. Now, again, I don't want to come off as like an RJ Harvey hater because I know some people take everything that I say as, Nick's hating or Nick's really loves a guy. At the end of the day, I don't hate RJ Harvey. I don't love RJ Harvey. I think he's a talented player. Will it work is a question. I don't know if it will work in this kind of a matchup. Man, Ertz's face is messed up. Charbonnet or DeMarcado? I would go DeMarcado. With Purdy now back, should I start Kittle over Bowers? Not play Bowers. You would drop Pierce. I don't think I can drop Alec Pierce, man. He's too good. Caleb Rogers or Purdy? 6-point pass touchdown, Caleb. Go, Ollie, go. First down. Derek, thank you for the super chat. Thanks, Nick. No, thank you. T-Mac, Washington, Harvey. See, this is the kind of question where Harvey starts to, do his gypsy witchcraft on my brain and make me want to play Harvey. But again, there's no BTJ. Washington is clearly the best wide receiver on this team. Clearly. I know there's the Jacoby Myers hype. And again, I know I've answered Parker Washington as a sit before in the stream, but I'm definitely gonna play Parker Washington here. He just feels like such a safe bet in this game. I'm gonna have to update my rankings, which I'm gonna do right now. I'm gonna push through the update to push up Parker Washington. But yeah, I think it would be very, very, very hard for me to sit Parker Washington when there's so many questions with Harvey. And again, I love Tedero McMillan. I think Tedero McMillan is a beast. But Bryce Young is so bad that it basically just ruins Tedero McMillan, right? Any chance Tedero McMillan had to breaking out. My opinion on Tedero McMillan was very high. Why was it very high? Because I thought that Tedero McMillan was going to have Bryce Young play like he did towards the end of last season. If you guys watched last season, of course, Waddle loves dropping the ball in crucial scenarios. Loves it. Nothing that Waddle loves more than dropping the ball in crucial scenarios. He just loves it. He gets off on it. He's addicted to it. How the fuck do you drop that? The same thing with Tyreek Hill. Anyone that's watched football with Tyreek Hill, he just loves dropping the fucking ball in crucial scenarios. What a dickhead. So frustrating. So frustrating. Sorry. Yeah, again, if T-Mac just had a better quarterback, he would so obviously be the answer. And then Tua gets sacked. No, he doesn't. He escapes, but there's a penalty. And then Tua gets sacked again. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. He gets out of the sack, runs, and instead of just throwing the ball, he gets sacked again. That was hilarious. Yeah, again, if T-Mac had a better quarterback, I'd be banging the drum for him. It's just going to be Washington for me. Just going to be Washington for me. I mean, Aaron Brewer just fucking sucks. This whole offensive line is such a joke. Such a joke. That was hilarious, though. I won't lie. That was so funny. That was so funny. Fumble! Did we get it? 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 Yes! Or ball! Ball don't lie, baby. That's so funny. Would you start Calvin Ridley now? No. I love Calvin Ridley. I am probably the only person on earth besides Calvin Ridley's family that still believes Calvin Ridley has it. But yeah, Calvin Ridley is not a guy I'm willing to start. Again, it's the Titans offense for one is just awful. So you just want to, as a good rule of thumb, you just want to be avoiding them. And a good rule of two would be you don't want to touch Calvin Ridley with a 10-foot pole. Even though I like Calvin Ridley, even though I'm deep down a Calvin Ridley truther, a Calvin Ridley enjoyer, I'm going Calvin Ridley. I mean, I'm just not touching Calvin Ridley with a 10-foot pole. Thank God we got the ball back. Because we lost to Marcus Mariota, I would have just ended stream. Or if we do lose, it's still possible. Theo or Fannin, I would go Theo. Yo, Nick, we flex at Ricky Rolex or Sean Temporary Tucker. I'm going Ricky Rolex. Please, A-Chain. Anyone else want Nick to live stream every Dolphins game? See, the problem is if I did live stream every Dolphins game, I would just get way too mad. Way too mad at this game. Because I'm like only half paying attention because I'm answering your guys' questions, right? I'm not 100% locked in. If we were just watching the Dolphins game and that was it, that's what the whole stream was, me just talking about the Dolphins, I would be getting way more angry at the game. Significantly more angry. I can tell I'm getting angry already, but it would be even worse. All right. I'm updating the rankings as we speak to anyone that is on the Patreon. Then I got to start putting my DFS lineups in once this Dolphins game ends. All right. Got to put the half PPR ones in now. Miguel, thank you for the super chat. Start 2, Sutton, Jennings, Pearsall, Egbuka, Tez. Great question. As crazy as this sounds, Miguel, we're going to go ahead and play both Buccaneers receivers. Again, I understand if you look at the actual matchup on paper, which look, I love looking at the matchups. And I think you're really, discrediting your own chances of winning in fantasy football if you don't look at the matchups, right? The matchups are crucial. They're a great way to determine one guy versus the other. But at the end of the day, if we expect this to be a high scoring game, right? Which I do, and I think most people do, Bucks versus Bills on paper should be high scoring. Now, again, does every game that should be high scoring be a shootout? Of course not, right? I thought that the Packers versus the Eagles, I didn't think that was going to be a shootout, but I thought that would be a competitive, close game. That was, there's some points. There was no points. Anyone that watched that game knows there was no fucking points being scored in that game. None. So it is possible that, the Buccaneers and Bills isn't a shootout, but you got to go Egbuka and Tez. I mean, you're definitely not sitting Egbuka. I'll tell you that much. Egbuka has been fantastic. I am very, very happy based on what I've seen out of Egbuka this season. And I think he's going to be next year. I think when we're talking about Egbuka, we're going to be talking about first round pick. If we're not talking first round pick with Egbuka, we're talking early second round pick. Tez Johnson, again, I think his value will diminish when Godwin and Evans come back, but that also doesn't guarantee that when those guys come back, they're even actually healthy enough for you to quantify actually really being excited about those guys. So for me, it's Tez Johnson and Egbuka. Just a high scoring game on paper. Should be a fun one. You want pieces of that game, and then you just get to avoid, the question mark of Pearsall. You get to avoid the question mark of Sutton in a tougher matchup. Jennings with Pearsall back. So Egbuka and Tez for me. Should I sit Sutton for Tez? Yes, I would. All right. I picked up a bottle of Patron for this Cards Niners tailgate. Our season is over, and we won't fire anyone. Everyone like equals another shot of Patron. Facts. Everyone like the stream so that Ben can black out. Shout out to Ben. Shout out to Ben. I thought the Packers Eagles would be like 21-28. Yeah, I mean, maybe that's too high scoring for what the matchup was on paper, but yeah. 21-18, 21-17, like a close game. That's what I would have expected with actual points. I mean, the only touchdown, go A-Chain, was, I don't even remember who it was off the top of my head. Who was it? Shit, I feel so stupid now that I don't remember. Packers, Eagles. I said it all week. I said it like a million times, and now I can't even remember. It was Devontae Smith. All right, full PPR. JSN, Egbuka, Rashid, JJ. This is another one of these questions, thank you, Danny, where it just sucks because you don't want any of these guys to be on your bench. And again, this is kind of why I advocate. Again, I can't change your guys' league settings. I think the best league settings are 1 quarterback, 2 running backs, 2 wide receivers, 2 flexes, and a tight end, or 3 wide receivers, 1 flex, because it does suck when you build this elite roster. You get the things right. You're picking up the correct players, and you're leaving a guy like Justin Jefferson on your bench. You're leaving a guy like Rashee Rice, Egbuka on your bench. It just sucks. It just sucks. So for me, JSN is a must play. You can't sit JSN. You're not sitting Rashee Rice. He's been a top 12 wide receiver now in 3 straight games. So you're either sitting Egbuka or Justin Jefferson. Now, the guy that would be guarding Justin Jefferson is out. Go, go, go. Oh, my God. They knocked him out at the 5. Feed A-Chan again. Get my boy in the end zone. Get my boy in the end zone. But yeah, I'm going to sit Justin Jefferson. It is a true coin flip. I have Egbuka 8, Justin Jefferson 10. I just think the matchup for Egbuka is going to be more inherently high scoring, so I would go with Egbuka. I have Egbuka ranked 2 spots ahead of him. I would sit Justin Jefferson. This is tough because I could see Justin Jefferson scoring 30 fantasy points, but I could see all these guys scoring 30 fantasy points. I'm sitting Justin Jefferson. That's a very tough question. That is probably the toughest question I've been asked in a while. Please give H-Hand the ball. There we go. Get your nice 2 yards, and we need to score. Harley, thank you for the super chat. Need a flex in PPR. Gadsden, Vidal, or RJ Harvey. Thank you and good luck to all. Thank you so much. Thank you very much. Again, it's very hard for me to not sound like a hater when talking about RJ Harvey, but the matchup is so bad. The matchup is so bad, and Harvey himself is in a really, 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 really bad scenario because we don't know for sure. Like, he's the RB1. Yes, he should get the most touches, but do we know how many touches he's actually going to get? I don't know, right? He should get the most touches, but I think Bidet is going to work in. I think you're going to see a decent amount of what's his name as well of Jaleel McLaughlin. So I think it's going to be very annoying. Gadsden, I thought was going to tear it up. He gets hurt, misses like half the game. Gadsden is now back. Gadsden has a great spot in an exciting game, realistically, you would think, against the Jaguars. The Jaguars for tight ends are the second best matchup. So please, please get in. Touchdown. Oh my God. Oh my gosh. He didn't get in by a literal micro peen. He was a millimeter away from the end zone. Please. Oh my God, I'm stressing, bro. I need A-Chain to score for my parlay. Oh man, yeah, I'm gonna go Gadsden. It's just the matchup is too good. I'm going Gadsden again. The matchup is too good. I like Vidal, but Vidal's been really hit or miss back and forth, and he was really, really, really bad um every other week. So, and he was really good last week. So, I'm gonna go with Gadsden. I just like the matchup a lot for him up against the Jaguars. I like the matchup for him a ton. So Gadsden for me. Thank you, Harley. Swift, Adams, Pickens, pick two, and Steelers or Ravens defense. Great question. Swift, Pickens, Adams. Again, this is one of those questions that is like, you want all three. Adams for sure. Adams for sure. The question is between Swift and Pickens. Man, Pickens is in such a good spot, in my opinion, against the Raiders. But he's not the wide receiver one, but I think he should have a big game. Swift is safer. If it's my team, I'm going more risky. I'm going to go Adams and Pickens. Oh, I want to go Adams and Swift. I'm gonna go Adams and Pickens though. Steelers or Ravens defense? Great question. I have the Steelers 16, Ravens 2. So I would go with the Ravens. Ravens, Adams, Pickens. It's close between all three of those guys, but Adams and Pickens for me. Fruit Punch, thank you so much for the super chat. I greatly appreciate you. Hunt or Harvey, and pick two, Charbonnet, Parker Washington, T-Mac. Thank you. Look, Charbonnet to me is just break glass in case of emergency. What I mean by break glass in case of emergency is worst case scenario, your whole fucking team is going tits up. Everything is going wrong. You need to start him. Then you start Charbonnet because Charbonnet could score 2 touchdowns, right? I'm not going to sit here and be like, Charbonnet can't score multiple touchdowns. He can, right? Because the team sucks him off in the red zone. They just love to give him targets on the goal line. So yes, I'm a fan of Charbonnet and what he does. Please give the ball to H-Han. Please get in the fucking end zone. Push him in, bro. Why are we not running with a fullback in front of him? This is gonna be full on crash out if we don't fucking score here. Do not kick the field goal. Kinlaw just bitched whoever that was and just grabbed A-Chain like a little boy. Ah! Oh my God. Yeah, I'm gonna go with Washington and T-Mac, and then I'm gonna go with Hunt over Harvey. Just trust Hunt more. Who do I have ranked higher? Hunt or Harvey? Fuck. Fuck. I got Hunt 23, Harvey 24. I'm going Hunt. Hunt over Harvey. And then Washington and T-Mac. Flex 2. DeMarcado, Algier, Manungai, Fannin. What happened? Who's hurt? What are they looking at here? What is happening? DeMarcado, Algier, Manungai, Fannin. I'm going DeMarcado and Fannin. Fannin gets a lot of volume from Cleveland. Who got hurt? Oh my God, was it Achan? Oh my God. Oh my God. All right, I'm gonna go. Yeah, Fannin and DeMarcado. I just think DeMarcado should get a safe floor, and Fannin has upside just due to how much Del Gabriel throws in the ball. DeMarcado and Fannin. Yeah, he is fine. He is fine. DeMarcado and Fannin. Amari, DeMarcado, or Tracy? I would go with DeMarcado. I just woke up to a league made trading his friend everything he had for pennies since he's out of the contention is my money league too. Well, I mean, if you have like a real commissioner, they will not allow that trade to go through. And we don't fucking score! Oh my God, what the fuck? Oh my God. Oh my God. Fucking Labubu stopped him. Fucking Mikey Labubu with the stop. God fucking damn it. Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh my God. What happened to A-Chain? He's dead. He's fine, actually. He got the wind knocked out of him. A.J. Brown or Derrick Henry? I'm going to go... I would go A.J. Brown. Never seen so many goal line stands. Well, we just ran the ball. Well, A-Chain got hurt if you weren't paying attention. I would have went for it personally because I already know the Commanders would have scored a touchdown. I just know that for sure. If this shit goes to overtime, we just need to get a pick six or something. I can't take this fucking game anymore. I cannot take this game anymore. This is so frustrating. So frustrating. Maybe a sack here, get a safety, win the game off a safety. Oh my God, and Debo's just wide open. Yeah, this game is over. This game is over. We suck. Leave fucking Mike McDaniel in Spain. Fuck this guy. This is unbelievable. This game is over. This game is over. Yeah, make sure you guys are on the Discord. Yeah, I'm gonna get so mad, dude. This is so fucking annoying, man. Our coach is such a fucking idiot. We honestly should have taken the field goal looking back, but I would have went for it. I get it. I get it. Man. This is so brutal. How the hell do we lose to the fucking Commanders? I don't think you can. I honestly think you have to score there because there's literally no way. Like, knowing what I know about the Miami Dolphins, the Commanders were 100% going. If we scored, they were 100% going to score. Because the Dolphins defense would do some bullshit because we have Anthony Weaver. All right, and they fall down. 3rd and 5. Oh, man. Oh, man. Oh, man. Oh, man. Talking about fucking Frank Sinatra. Go Commanders, bro. Fuck the Commanders. I need just a field goal. I need something. I mean, I don't need them to get a field goal. I need us to get a stop and then kick a fucking field goal. We could win the game. I could feel some joy for once watching this terrible team. Man. My favorite female fighter got absolutely destroyed last night. Just a bad weekend to be me, you know? Tough sledding. We just have to stop him here. Third down. We don't get any fucking pressure, and he just dumps it off to fucking, who is that? Is it Jalen Lane? Chris Jones. I have no idea. It's Jacoby Jones. I said Chris Jones as if it's the Chiefs' fucking defensive player. This game is over. This game is over. What a stream. Yeah, tell Mike to put the fries in the bag, dude. What a joke. You're flustered with the Dolphins game. Never seen you so serious. No, I don't think. The Dolphins have lost every single international game we've ever played, and every single game we have played internationally, I've been streaming, and we have lost in terrible fashion, just like today. If you guys remember, I was streaming when the Jaguars beat the Dolphins in England. I was streaming when Tua missed a wide open Cedric Wilson to win the game up against the Kansas City Chiefs. And now I'm live when the Dolphins just lost to the fucking Commanders with Marcus Mariota. Unbelievable how bad this team sucks. Oh! Fuck! I thought we were going to pick right there. Sorry for moaning in your guys' ear. I thought he was going to get the pick right there. And I also thought Mariota might just get absolutely destroyed right there and fumble the ball, but of course he doesn't. And of course, the ball hits our defender right in the face instead of picking the ball off. I'm going to answer your question in half a second. I do apologize. We do have 30 minutes left, though, so we're not in really any rush. If we were rushing, then yes, I would have answered the question already. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Get him. Holding. There was holding on the offensive line, too, and they just don't call it. Okay. That makes sense, right? That was fucking clear holding on the offensive line. Are you fucking kidding me? Minka strapped him down. Thank God they didn't call a penalty on that. All right. Do I start Tyler the Swiper Algier or Kyler Monagai? Okay, so basically, you're just looking for a touchdown. That's all this is going to do. You are just looking for a touchdown with either Monungai or with Algier. Your only hope is that they get a touchdown. Ha! Gay! Nice kick, buddy! Ha 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 ha! Ha 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 ha! You guys ever seen that was from Hangover. Where he goes, ha, yay! Thank God he missed. Thank Christ. Okay. Now we're gonna answer the question. Nice kick, buddy. Fucking jackass. That's the first time someone's ever missed a kick that was like 50 yards to beat the Dolphins. Okay. You're basically just looking for a touchdown. That's all this is. Who's going to get the touchdown? Monagai or Algier? So we're just going to look at the matchup. That's really all you're going to do. You're just praying for the matchup here. We've got Tyler Algier of the Falcons. They are going, or the come on, Tua. Waddle, what the fuck? Are you kidding me? You stupid fuck. Oh my God. Oh my God. This is unreal. Jaylen Waddle, you fucking bum. We should have sent you to the Bills. What the fuck? Oh my God. Are we going to get the snap off? do? Do not play hook and ladder. Okay. Okay. Thank God. Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh my God. Okay. So we're just looking at who's going to score a touchdown. Sorry. Sorry. Who's going to get the touchdown? So the Vikings going against the Bears. So we're looking at the Vikings. The Vikings are the 20th best matchup for running backs. Algier going up against the Panthers. Panthers are the 18th best matchup. So we're going to go with Algier. Algier is one of the most annoying players to play in fantasy football. I could just as easily see him getting 8 carries as I could see him getting 30 carries. So bad. It's so frustrating to watch. But yeah, I would go Algier. Just more likely to score. So we're gonna go Algier. Kate Otten versus number 1 or Pat Fryermouth versus 32. Yeah, I just trust Otten more. Like, look, Fryermuth scored twice last time against this team. Do we really think that's going to happen again? Like, do we really think that he's just a lock to be, like the tight ends are so good against that defense, but the problem is they have 3 fucking tight ends. So, I don't know. It's just so tough for me. What do we do? I can't hear the game. Who's getting the ball? Are we getting the ball? Okay. We're kicking the ball. If we don't win this game, I'm ending the stream. Because the game is going to take until we kick the game off, so it doesn't really matter. We buy homes near you. Standard. Flex 1. No, I think we won the toss and we let them get it because you each get a chance to score because they changed overtime rules. Buka, Kyron, or T. Higgins? Great question. In standard, again, it's just all about the touchdowns. I like Kyron, but I don't love this matchup for him. I just don't love it. Like, I think he's going to be fine. Like, I don't think this is going to be DEFCON 72, right? If he has like a bad game. But I think the safer bet is just to go with Egbuka. Again, should be a high scoring game. Egbuka's a guy with touchdown upside, right? He's not one of these wide receivers that just gets a gazillion. He's not like Khalil Shakir, right? Who could get literally, or Wandale, right? Where you could see the guy get like 15 targets, catch every single one of them. And by the end of the game, he can't score 30 fantasy points just because he can't score a touchdown. So for me, I would go with Egbuka. Am I worried about the weather? I mean, I'm never worried about the weather, frankly. I don't know if the weather. I'm trying to find it. The weather. It says overcast with 35-mile-an-hour wind gusts at points, 18-mile-an-hour wind. I mean, I'm not that worried. Not that worried, personally. I mean, they're going to throw the ball. They're going to have to throw the ball. Now, if you're really worried about the weather, go right ahead and just play Kyron or T. Higgins. But the problem with T. Higgins, though, is I just don't like if they make it rain on the Steelers. Like, I think it's entirely possible that they do that, and then we don't end up seeing T. Higgins find the end zone. If you're scared of the weather, I would play Kyron, but I'm just going to play Egbuka. It's also not going to be raining either. It's just windy, and the wind doesn't play as large of a factor as you think it does, unless you're talking about crazy winds, which this will have gusts of crazy winds. So maybe you'll see a couple plays where Baker drops back to throw. He throws it. and the thing just sails, like it just doesn't go anywhere near the guy he's trying to throw it to. But that's not all the time, right? Wind gusts are just gusts. It's not going to happen all the time. Plus, like, again, like, obviously you'd prefer if the game was in a dome or something, right? That would be best case scenario is if the game was in a dome, but it's not. So I would go, I'm still going Ibuka. Stay me 70779. Thank you for the super chat. Roma Dunze, Chase Brown, Rashad White. This might be the only time I answer a question about Roma Dunze where Roma Dunze is actually a sit. Chase Brown going up against the Steelers. He played so well against them last time. But I think I just trust Rome a little bit more to get the bigger game. I think if you're looking for safety, you would just play Chase Brown. Picked! Fuck you! Yes! Thank God. Sorry for yelling. Thank God. Get strapped, you bitch, Marcus Mariota. Fuck you. Now, let's just get into the end zone with Achan. Let's just mosey on into the end zone with Achan. Sorry for yelling, but anyone that's ever watched my videos before knows I'm going to be yelling about something. Let's go. Okay. If you want to be safe, you play Chase Brown. Why? Because Chase Brown's going to get you 12 plus points virtually guaranteed. I get the matchup on paper isn't the best against the Steelers, but this is an offense with Flacco that is humming. I do still think one of these days we're going to get a Flacco stinker. But the thing is, the Flacco stinker, I feel like, comes after Flacco's played like 10 games in a row, right? Because Flacco's an unk. He's just not going to be as good anymore towards the end of the season, right? He's going to wear down more. He's an older guy. And it's also cold out. And as you know, cold people that are, old don't perform as well in the cold because their bones get all fucked up. Okay. I'm not a doctor, but I remember watching, obviously this is a different guy, but if you remember Peyton Manning after the neck surgery, when it would get cold, and again, he had neck surgery, he was just terrible, but towards the end of his career. So I think the smart move would be just to go with Roma Dunze because I think Roma Dunze is live again to score 25 plus fantasy points. If you want to be safe, you play Chase Brown. Chase Brown is very safe, but I would go with Roma Dunze. And I think Rashad White, he's a fine play. Look, you want to play Rashad White? For some of you guys, go ahead, but he is just a big risk now with the usage of Sean Tucker. There's just much more of a question mark with him now going forward. So personally, I would love to play Roma Dunze this week. Well, I heard you shouting, so I came running. I need an A-chain touchdown. Hey, don't yell at my team like that. Sorry, bro. It's nothing against you. It's just more about the fact that if we lost this game, this would have been just the most frustrating thing ever. Because again, I think if this game was in America, I think both offenses show up better. I don't know. There's just something about these overseas games that just end up always being bad. And now I know, Nick, did you watch the Colts Falcons game last week? I know, right? But that's 1 in a million, right? 1 in a million overseas games that are actually good. And of course, we need to call timeout because Mike McDaniel doesn't know how to get the fucking play call in time. Oh my God. But you know what? As long as we win, it is what it is. Jameson Williams from an guy. Jameson Williams. Henry Vidal, ETN. Pick one, please. I would go ETN. Swift or Addison? Swift. Sutton or Dobbs? Sutton. No, Dobbs. DJ Moore, Trey Tucker. Caleb, Flacco, Brissett. Flacco. George Pickens or JMO? Pickens. Swift or over Addison? Hunt, Myers, Sharbs, Watson. I would go Charbonnet. Need two. Kelsey, Gadsden, Vidal, Sutton, Jennings. I would go Kelsey and Gadsden. Singletary or Gainwell? Singletary. Again, Gainwell is all right. By the way, Gainwell to me is a very, 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 very good handcuff. Right? I think Gainwell proved to us that he's a great handcuff. But in terms of his standalone value when Jaylen Warren is out there, it's just very low. It's just very low. And I think you guys probably would agree with that his standalone value is pretty low. So I would prefer not to play him. Go A-Chain, go. All right, we get to the 11. You just got to punch this one in. Punch this touchdown into the end zone so I can finally relax after watching this game for 8 years on live stream. Marks or Swift? Swift. Yeah, make sure you guys are in the Discord, by the way. Normally, during the standalone games, I'm in the Discord talking to you guys, but obviously I'm live streaming, so I'm not in there right now, being able to talk to you guys. I do have to check my email real quick to make sure I didn't get any Patreon questions because I did mute my phone. Wait, why are we kicking a field goal here? We're not going to try to score a touchdown? Thank God. We won. That shit was too easy. That shit was too easy. Never in doubt. Never in doubt. Thank God. Thank God. I was getting so stressed out at the end of that game. Okay. Yeah, make sure you guys are on the Discord. Monty or Sean Tucker? Monty or Sean Tucker? Monty. Nikki, keep doing your thing. Time to quit your J job. Thank you, Georgia. I appreciate that. Yeah, I appreciate that. Maybe one day we will have enough, viewers and stuff to not, have to work another job. But I do appreciate that. Thank you so much. But it's not your guys' fault. It's my own fault, right? It ain't on y'all. There's a lot of people that make fantasy content nowadays, but thank you so much. I really do appreciate that. Thank you for the super chat. It means a ton to me. I do appreciate it. Thank you so much. And thank you for the super chat earlier, too. Thank gosh we won this game, man. That was, I don't know why. I still really, if I'm being honest with you, have no idea why they didn't try to score, right? Like, why did we not try to score a touchdown? At the end of the day, we should have tried to score a touchdown. To me, that's just a little confusing that we didn't try to score a touchdown. Like, I feel like they could have, again, because I don't really trust our kicker. Obviously, he made the field goal, but I feel like the safe approach would be just keep spam running the ball, run the ball gently downstream, and then sure, if you have to kick it on like 4th and 1, go right ahead. But we should have won that game with ease, and we didn't, and that's a very big tell that I know we have the momentum after beating the Bills, but like, how sure am I even that we win next week? I think we have a bye week, so we're obviously going to beat the bye, but the Dolphins are the kind of team that will lose to the bye. But what I really mean is, like, how sure am I that we'll actually win these other easy games we have coming up? I don't know. I do not know, man. I don't know. Thank you again so much. I really appreciate it. I hope the Commanders draft some competent defensive players next year. The Commanders, honestly, this year, I would not be that mad. Like, as a Commanders fan, that I'm not. If I'm putting my, brain into yours, right? If I'm thinking as a Commanders fan, I would be more mad that, like, I would not be that mad about the season because basically everything that went wrong could have went wrong. You suffered a million injuries. Terry McLaurin was never able to get healthy. And that sucked. Your quarterback suffered an injury that looked like something that was going to completely alter his career, and he's going to be okay. So, again, while the season sucked based on your expectations, at least it didn't go completely awry because of bad play, right? It wasn't because your whole team is a complete and utter disaster. It was because there was a lot of injuries. Now, sure, you might want to fire Dan Quinn. Sure, you might want to, just clean house, bring a whole new defense in. But at the end of the day, it wasn't because, Jaden Daniels is terrible now. That would be the worst case scenario, is you start to believe in the quarterback and then the quarterback's terrible. That's kind of what life is like as a Dolphins fan, right? I finally started to believe in Tua, and then Tua starts to suck. Right? One dose creator, Brissett or Rodgers, Theo Johnson, Pitts, or Ridley? Great question. Now, to me, Calvin Ridley is unstartable. He is as unstartable as it gets. I would not touch him with a 10-foot pole. I do not trust him. I would go Brissett over Rodgers. Brissett's been a top 12 quarterback in now 4 straight games. Now, again, I've talked about this a bunch. I don't like Jacoby Brissett, if I'm being honest with you. Like, I don't think he's very good. But I do think that just because he isn't good doesn't mean that he can't produce because he's been producing, right? Like I think the game's gonna come where he shits the bed. But if he's performed this well in 4 straight games, you just stick with the guy that continues to put up the big numbers for you. And that is exactly what Brissett has done, whereas Rodgers has been really just all over the place. And sure, he had a great game against this team last time. So can he do it again? 100%. I'm not going to say that it's impossible, but I would feel much better without him. And then when it comes to Brissett, and then I would go with if you're going for upside, go Theo Johnson. If you want to be safe, you play Pitts. I would go Theo Johnson, Brissett and Theo Johnson. Purdy or Bo Nix, non-PPR, Judkins or RJ Harvey. Again, that's a tough question because I don't really love the matchup for either guy. And I just think Judkins is going to get 15 plus touches. I feel like we should think Harvey's going to get that many touches, but since I can't guarantee it, I would go ahead and play Judkins. And Purdy versus Bo Nix, I'm going to go with Purdy. Again, it's really just a matchup thing. I think Bo Nix has the potential to really, like last week, he screwed the pooch. I think it's entirely possible that he has a complete repeat of last week, whereas if you played him, you just absolutely hate yourself because you started him. So while I have to play Bo Nix in my league because it's a super flex league, I have to play Bryce Young and Bo Nix. I wouldn't be shocked if they combine for 8 total fantasy points. Like that's how bad things are looking. But yeah, I would go Purdy even coming off the injury. And I would also go with Judkins. Joey Ford, thank you for the super chat. Ken Walker, Aaron Jones. Look, I think it's kind of just over for Kenneth Walker. Not that Kenneth Walker can't ever be good again, right? He could be good on a different team. Or if they just abandon Zach Charbonnet. But with how things sit right now, he's as good as dead for your fantasy team, right? It's got to be desperation mode to where you actually put him in your lineup. And when you have Aaron Jones, who's been pretty consistent ever since returning from injury, I think the smart move would be to play Aaron Jones. All right, NJ, thank you for the super chat. Who would you rather start in your flex full PPR? Thank you for the super chat. Full PPR league, Quentin Johnson or RJ Harvey. Again, if RJ Harvey had a better matchup, I would be on here banging the drum profusely for him. I have question marks about the matchup. This is a very, very, very rough matchup for him. It is first ever start. So not only is it a rough matchup, but he also has competition around him, right? Like would anyone be surprised if we fast forward to the end of the game and RJ Harvey isn't necessarily the bell cow back that you thought he was going to be, right? If he was ceding more touches than you want. Now, again, Quentin Johnston is also an incredibly risky asset, but at least his matchup isn't bottom of the barrel to where you are just so stressed out that nothing's going your way. So for me, I would go ahead and just avoid RJ Harvey for a lot of you guys. I would go with Quentin Johnston. Again, I understand that the QJ experience is not a fun one. It's a stressful one. His production bounces all over the place, but I would feel best about playing Quentin QJ, in my opinion. Again, if RJ Harvey could get a better matchup and we knew for sure what his workload would be, I'd be much more excited about him. Joey, thank you for the super chat again. Knox or Hawkinson. The problem with Knox really is I think Jackson Hawes probably could outscore him. And I feel like one of those guys is guaranteed to score, whether it's Knox or the other guy. But that's kind of just how I feel. I think it's a guarantee that one of them score. Hawkinson has been so bad, though, right? Like, it just doesn't seem like he has a clear path in this offense to even get more than 5 targets. So I think I would just go with Knox off the chance that he scores, right? I know Knox could be a nut low 0, and like Hawkinson should get you like 7 points. But what's really the point in getting 7 points in your starting lineup at the tight end position? We could just shoot for the moon and maybe Knox scores 15. I would go Knox. Slim pickings in the flex this week. Pollard, Chuba, Chubb, or Bam. I would go Pollard just because, again, I don't really like Tony Pollard. I think we might see more Tajay Spears, but can we guarantee that? Probably not, right? Can we guarantee that Tajay Spears is necessarily the guy? No, they probably see a very even amount of targets. I mean, amount of touches overall. And I could see him just falling ass backwards in the end zone. So I would just trust him the most. How do we feel about DK today? I mean, I love DK today. Do I trust DK Metcalf? No. Do I love him? Yes. I think this is the kind of game where you get back on the saddle and you perform. I know if you go back in time and you look at, hey, how did he perform up against that matchup last time out just a few weeks ago? And he was terrible, right? He was awful. So I definitely think there are reasons to worry, but at the same time, for most of you guys, it's going to be very, 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 very hard to sit him. So I'm still going to be playing DK Metcalf. I mean, if there ever was a game for him to bounce back, it would be this game. So that's how I feel. Let's go. All right. The Dolphins did it. Thank God. Why can't I talk? I don't know. You should be able to talk. Why would you go with Jalen Warren or T-Law in Superflex? For me, in Superflex, I think unless you're looking at like, the nut low quarterbacks of the world, I'm talking about like Bryce Young or, Tyler Shock, some guy like that. I think you're probably just always going to play the quarterback because the quarterback's floor is just so high in fantasy football. Like, I understand Jalen Warren has a pretty high floor too, but Trevor Lawrence's floor is definitely higher just because he gets so many more opportunities to touch the ball. So while you're, not talking to the biggest Trevor Lawrence fan, you're talking to me who does not like him at all, right? Who thinks he's, really just overrated. I guess he's not overrated anymore, but you just got to play Trevor Lawrence. I don't think you can sit a quarterback in that scenario when you have such a layup, in my opinion, just to play the quarterback. All right. Yeah, I agree. DK is a mid wide receiver too. I agree. Just got to put my last 3 lineups in here. Travis Etienne or Rome. Again, I find it very difficult to sit Rome, but I do like Etienne more. But again, it's not by like a wide margin to where it's like a guarantee one of the guys truly dominates the other. I'd go Etienne. Judkins or Vidal? Judkins for me. Who is your team? I don't know, man. I don't know who I like. I'm a Dolphins fan. Unless you're talking about who's on your team, like who's on my fantasy team. Maybe honestly, we'll probably end the stream before I can show it. I'll show my teams on Thursday. Normally, my teams end up on the screen on Thursday. We just have more time to talk. Wandale or Montgomery? Wandale. Zay Flowers, Quentin Johnson, or Jawan Jennings? Zay Flowers. QJ Jawan would be my order. George Pickens or Devontae Smith? I would go with George Pickens. Again, Devontae Smith's coming off a big game. I like Devontae Smith a ton in terms of his skill. Again, it's just the offense as a whole that just really, 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 really does throw a wrench into things. And it just makes it so gross. Just makes it so gross for a guy like Devontae Smith, especially with A.J. Brown crashing out. It just makes me think they're going to feed A.J. Brown. And maybe that's just stupid. And maybe they'll just take away even more targets from A.J. Brown. They'll just give him absolutely nothing. They'll just flip him the bird, tell him to go fuck himself. But I don't really think that's what's going to happen. Dowdle or Collins? Dowdle. Coach, I'm scared to start QJ with Gat back. Should I go Parker Washington or Monty? If you're scared money don't make no money, as they say, I would still play QJ, but I get it. Go Parker Washington. Bench 1. I'm going to bench Khalil. I'm going to bench Parker Washington just because I think Khalil Shakir is a little bit safer, and they both kind of feel like guys that don't necessarily have these gigundo ceilings. So I would just go with Shakir in a more high-scoring game environment. That's what I would do. Dodge, Kobe Myers. I think I should start trade one of. Yes, I would be fine doing that. I think Travion Henderson will retain his job once, the bad man Ramondre Stevenson returns, but I can't guarantee that. If I was to trade any of them, I'd probably trade Saquon Barkley just because of the fact that it really just depends who has the most trade value. I think Saquon just has a lot of name value. Am I playing Parker Washington over McMillan? Yes, I would. Who to start? I'm just making sure I didn't miss any super chats. Who to start at the flex? RJ Harvey, Rashad White, Ricky Pearsall, Quentin Johnson, Jordan Addison. I would go QJ. Again, I think that RJ Harvey will be successful at the NFL level, but I don't like his matchup. And when I don't like the matchup, and when I also don't like the fact that I think the team's not just going to force feed the ball to RJ Harvey and we're going to have multiple running backs getting the ball, it just seems like a scenario where you want to be pretty far away from it. Again, I get some of you guys have to start RJ Harvey, and I get some of you guys will find success with RJ Harvey in your lineup going forward. But this just doesn't feel like the kind of matchup where he does that, right? Where he has that fucking gigantic game. Travis Etienne or Barkley. I would go Barkley. Need help, Chad? Aaron Jones or Chase Brown? Chase Brown for me. Nothing against Aaron Jones. Just trust Chase Brown a little bit more. And Chase Brown played really well last time those two teams played. And I kind of hate saying the last time these two teams played, the one guy played very well, because we all know that doesn't really mean shit in the scheme of things, right? You could have a great game against someone, right? And then the next game just be terrible, right? It doesn't guarantee that you actually have a good game, but that's kind of how I feel. Okay. Good luck to everyone this weekend. Dalton Schultz or Kelsey, Etienne or Igbuka, Sutton or Swift. I would go ahead and play Swift. Chase Brown or Aaron Jones. Chase Brown. Addison or QJ. QJ for me. QJ for me. QJ for me. All right. Addison or QJ. QJ. Tez or Dobbs. Tez. I have Baker and Igbuka already. Yeah, Tez for me. Chubb or Zonovan Knight. I would go Chubb. Good luck, Fantasy Fam. Yes, sir. Yes, ma'am. I guess. Good luck. Good luck to everyone today. I hope you guys have a Judkins or Swift. Hope you guys have a great Sunday watching these games. See you in the Discord. Yes, sir. Yeah, yes, ma'am. Again, I said sir again. Judkins or Swift for sure. Thank you guys for watching. I do apologize for being too invested in the Dolphins game. Normally, when there's another game being played, I'm not even remotely locked in. That was just me. All right. See y'all in the Discord. Flex, Walker, DJ, Pearsall, B-Rob. I would play Pearsall. All right. We are at lock. Thank you, Spock, for helping answer all the questions in the chat. I really appreciate you. Hope Spock had a great birthday. Shout out to Captain Spock in the chat. I should have mentioned that off the rip, but we did talk about it on Thursday as well. So shout out to Spock. Shout out to everyone. Thank you guys for watching. Glad your fish won, Nick. Thank you. That Patriots game, it was funny because you ever watch like a divisional game and you're like, wow, it's close, right? At the beginning, and then obviously it's just going to be a blowout. That's basically exactly what the Patriots game was. Parker Washington or Schultz at Superflex. I would play Parker Washington. All right, I would go Parker Washington. All right. Best of luck to everyone today. I hope you guys did enjoy the stream. Thank you guys so much. Leave a like on the stream. Before we get out of here, I'll see you guys tomorrow with some videos, and I'll see you guys next Thursday with the stream. Next Thursday Thanksgiving? Thanksgiving 2025. November 27th. So not this Thursday, next Thursday. Okay. We will be live on Thanksgiving as well. I know not as many people watch on Thanksgiving, but we'll be in there like swimwear on Thanksgiving. So I hope you guys do enjoy. Hope you all have a good one. Good luck to everyone. See you guys on the flippity flop. Peace out.